And there's Linda.
Count those 8. Hey, kitty. Miss you.
I'm scared a little bit. I'm scared a little bit. All right. 74 degrees Fahrenheit. 5,738 miles on the odometer. Once again, November 6th, 2024. This is definitely the second or third part of the vlog, depending on how many minutes I divided each daily vlog into. Sorry, I have to do it because of how my internet service is. Or I do one long 45-minute vlog, which, I don't know, I kind of like the 20-minute ones because you can choose which one you want to watch. Anyway, this is the second part of the delivery for the day. We had early morning, well, it wasn't early morning, but it was late morning day delivery. And now we're doing the second part of the delivery, which is afternoon, pretty much like dinner time kind of thing. There's the butterfly. Oh, and a vlog suggestion. I suggest you go over to the Daily Woo channel too. I sometimes have advertised it on my show. Adam the Woo is actually in Alaska right now, and it's just fascinating footage. He had to drive through this tunnel. It was a one-way tunnel, and it was railroad tracks underground for like a full mile or two. And to get to this place, I think it's called Whitaker, Alaska. Anyway, yeah, and then he drove back. He went to like a gift shop and an army post that's been set up a long time ago. And I believe it's called Whitaker, Alaska. So far, it's one of his best vlogs. It's really interesting. He's all bundled up and going through the ice and snow. I think he got a rental car. Right outside of Anchorage, Alaska. It's right outside of Anchorage. Just to correct myself about the Daily Woo, is it probably wasn't a gift shop exactly. It was like a museum. So they have a museum out there at this army post that's just full of all this fascinating history of, I believe it's called Whitaker. Oh, squirrel. Yeah, he was suicidal, squirrel. Yep. He almost, there he goes. Yeah. Whoa, man, that squirrel, he jumped right in front of my car. Now, I wrote a short story, a children's short story about squirrels. They've done this to me over the years I've been doing delivery for 5 years. He jumped right in front of my car and just, like, he got up on his feet like he was going to take on the car. And then he then finally made a decision to run off. Anyway, yeah, he didn't go to a gift shop, he went to a museum or something like that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, first delivery for tonight, 2 miles and 9 minutes. Be there at 5:04. Did about 52 miles from yesterday and this afternoon, or this morning. And this one's a pizza for the jailhouse. Pizza for the jailhouse, yeah. Getting hungry and want some pizza for the jailhouse, yeah. I was just remembering what Kamala Harris said. She said, when I take office, nothing in this world will get in my way. But of course, Donald Trump. And this is We Love Jesus and We Love Fort Worth. Paradox Church. It's a new building right there. But, you know, she still got to be vice president, the first woman vice president of all time. So she did set history, you know, in the making. That's a good thing. So we went through a whole 4 years of a woman being in office, as in the first female vice president. But we didn't get a double whammy, which would have been if she became president. Well, it's not really a double whammy, but you know what I mean. I'm a guy, so. But there's never been a female president. We don't know if there ever will be. Maybe it's a possibility. She got to run, so not too bad though. She took some big wins, but not all of it. 292 electoral votes went to Trump, and that was probably, he's pretty much gonna say it's a landslide. A lot of other people will. It probably is. 222 or something, like 220 something electoral votes. I'll have to look at it again. Or maybe it was 260. I don't know. Let me look at it again. But Kamala took California. She also took New York and some northeastern places like Washington. But if you look on a map, all the middle of America, all the way down from Texas to Florida, all the way up, it all went red. So everybody wants a change, and that happens. They let, you know, electoral votes will let a country know. It's the same way with popular vote. We'll have to look at popular vote too. All this is going to be analyzed over the next few weeks. But already the victory speech is out, so Trump is now the new president of the United States of America. Well, he's not new. He's his second term. But he had to share a term with Biden. Now he's cutting back in, so. And I did not get a chance to vote. So they got a lot of construction going on at the jailhouse right now. I think this is correct. Alright, so got that one taken care of. And you got to do a lot of construction on the jailhouse right over there. Alright, so I was looking at those numbers again. Kamala Harris, electoral votes, 226. And Donald Trump with a 295, which is quite higher than his last win. Maybe I'd have to look at the spread on the last win. And let's see. Hold on, step down. So okay, I'll have to look at that anyway. It's been some time because we've had a whole 4 years go by with just Biden. And I think what hurt the Democratic Party, and I'll just, here's some of my kind of play-by-play things. I've taken some politics in college. Let's see, it's called political science, right? So we did a couple of times. Here, I think what hurt the Democratic Party, to be honest, was Biden stepping down. Because you have a presidential figure that already beat Trump, who was Joe Biden. And you had the country under a lot of pressure because of inflation and maybe even a high unemployment rate. It's been tough. Don't get me wrong. I'm an American too. I'm not a European that's coming out and doing this vlog. I've been living in America as well. Texas is part of America, even though we like to think of ourselves as our own country. And that's how Texas will always probably be. After all, we have a flag that looks like the American flag as well as just a Texas flag. But we are pretty independent, but we are still just a state. But it's been tough. It has not been easy. Now, gas prices just recently have dropped dramatically. Now, I don't know if that was for the election, which I probably think it was. But it's gotten low gas prices, but we've hit some high points, you know, in gas pricing. But here's what I think what happened with the Democratic Party, that the failure was. I think Biden dropped out, which weakened the Democratic Party. His vice president, of course, being a woman, being Kamala Harris, was pretty prepared, but she was no Obama. I'm just going to throw it down there. She was a good speaker, don't get me wrong. She had a good chance, and I thought maybe she might win, but you already have a radical Republican Party that's diehard Trump. I don't think you have the same with the Democratic Party with Kamala. Now, maybe you did with Joe Biden because of the fact that he ran with Obama. Because Obama, his office, being a Democratic office, because that's what it was very diehard. There's a lot of Obama fans. There was artwork that came out when Obama was running. There was, stuff on all different types of television shows that you could think of. It was kind of almost like Obama had become a brand name. I'm just being honest. It was on, you could see it in the grocery store. It was a big deal. There was a thing that said hope. It was marketed very well, and people could stand behind it. And even me, being raised by Republicans, and not really being Democratic since Clinton was in office, I did vote for Obama because I was won over by that campaign. I didn't feel that campaign was that strong with Kamala at all, with Kamala Harris. I felt like the only thing new that was going for her was the fact that she was a woman. She was already vice president, which is a very strong thing. But I didn't feel like the Democratic Party was that gung-ho over it. They were for it, but it only got 226. With Trump on the other side being diehards, they just all went out and voted. I tried to, but I couldn't find a sign that said vote here. I went to this high school that supposedly you're supposed to vote. No signs or anything, and that was my only shot. I only had a window of about an hour or two. But there is well, from the time when the riot happened, which was January 6th, there is a fear to be openly for the Republican Party. It's been, Nick Johnson talks about it a lot in his YouTube vlog, because he's appears to be for Trump. But there is kind of, people will hold their tongue because there's still radical left Democratic people. I'm not going to say anything, like we have everything from Antifa to just people that are just diehard Democrats. But there are people out there that absolutely hate Trump, and they're mostly on the Democratic side, and they'll let you know. So if you're ever talking about it, you usually don't mention that name. That's what I've noticed. But he still won. So this is a pretty interesting thing. If you go to Nick Johnson's YouTube vlog, he goes and interviews all these people about it. And you would be amazed how many Democrats have switched over to Republicans saying, listen, man, we can't even go grocery shopping. It's gotten bad. I'm eating ramen noodle. If you ever watch the vlog, I don't show me eating ramen noodle, but I was eating it every day. Now, the pizza I get from a restaurant. Okay. And let me tell you this. I'm just going to tell you this. Over the last 2 years, there was a time where it got real bad that I didn't vlog everything, but I did show some of the ramen noodle stuff. I was getting tuna packets and ramen noodle, and my protein was tuna, and ramen noodle get it for like 30 cents. And that was like a meal. It's still pretty bad, but I moved up to chow mein. So I'm getting chow mein. And not as much tuna, but we're still able, to get like chicken and stuff. But we were for about a year on Snap, which I didn't show a lot of. That was when I was snapping like this, to kind of click, because I didn't want to give an information about it. But we were living basically on Snap, and they denied Snap. Linda's still trying, she's still applying. So we got about 300 and something on Snap, and we were able to get a little bit of that because at one time I was really struggling. We were both really struggling. Linda had lost her job, and then we were in between jobs. And so I don't know. I've got some ideas about what direction I may go. I did apply to a real estate position today, just to throw it out there to see if they'd work me during the day, just to try something. And I did go to a real estate meeting about a year ago, because some people told me to get into real estate. But we'll see. It's still going to be a struggle. It's not going to be easy, but there might be some opportunities that open up. right, next one's 2.7 miles, 9 minutes. We'll be there at 5:52 in the p.m. All right, 12 pizzas and 4 Cokes. They wanted a couple Sprites, but they're going to get 4 2-liters because I guess everyone bought the Sprite. So we got a garbage truck ahead of us. How symbolic. Going to the Hampton Inn. Hand them some pizza at the Hampton Suites, that is. We're actually going there, though. That's the convention center, so that's the story I have about, which I should walk through that. Real quick, JFK's statue is right over here because John F. Kennedy made a surprise speech the day before he was killed on November 21st of 1963 in Fort Worth, Texas. And then you can barely see the top part of his head right there. That's what Harvey Oswald said. No, I'm joking. No, but he was running around here like a mad chicken and making Secret Service really upset. Anyway, about the Bones Brigade. That happened in the early 90s, or actually probably late 80s right there. This area right here. Mike McGill was in the van right there when he grabbed the, or maybe over there around that area where he grabbed the hat off my head when I was running after the van. I tried to jump in with him. I was probably about, I don't know, maybe 12. Maybe 13, maybe 13, 14. And they were so nice after that. They gave me a tip, and I got these peanuts too. So as part of my tip, I got these planters. They're like spicy nuts Cajun sticks. So, yeah, that's pretty nice of them. Hampton's pretty cool. What's this, a Wilco? Pretty good. Waiting on the green light. Or I can just pan this way. Or go back this way. There we go. I mean, I respect the Democratic Party for giving it a try. I probably thought that Republicans were going to take over again. And that can happen. It's just the way the country is. Now, of course, when I looked at the independent parties, they got 0 electoral votes, and it's been that way for a long time. I think Ross Perot might have got a few of them. I'd have to go back and look in history. He may have got 0 electoral votes too, but I'm not for sure. But he also was a contender through the debates. So we didn't see any other independent party, which kind of upsets me a little bit. You know, because they didn't even get a shot at the debates. America has become very Republican and Democratic, and very Republican very quick. Over the last day or two, we find out. If you look at the map, all of the middle of America is red. Everything from Florida over to Texas, all red. It's a big portion of America right now that's going to have a Republican mind. And that's a big change. So we'll see how things are how things get. I'm hoping that the grocery stores will be more affordable and they'll be offering more health food. I know that sounds crazy, but more health food. Americans sometimes are bad about that. We're one country where we need to bring in the subject of health food in American school systems. Nobody ever talks about those kinds of things. What we put in our mouth is important, but no one ever talks about it, you know? And also another thing, I was thinking another thing they missed out on the debates too, they didn't even talk about. The Green Party was never really mentioned. You know, even though the Green Party didn't get an electoral vote, the environment wasn't even seemed like it was an issue, really. It would have been more a Democratic thing, but it wasn't really talked about in debate, not that I can remember. Most things it focused on was immigration. They did focus on inflation, and that seemed like the two big winners. Crime was mentioned, part of immigration. And of course, abortion, which will always be a hot subject. And the pro-lifers will always let people, know about it. All right, next delivery is 5.7, 13 minutes. We'll arrive at 7:08. All right, Casa Manana, Tuna Christmas coming up November 9th. And then 'twas night before Christmas, December 29th, right before Christmas time. Pretty much Christmas Eve. It's based on a nursery. Well, it's not a nursery rhyme. It's a children's story, really. 'Twas a night before Christmas. Nothing stirred, not even a mouse. That thing. Going back to Tuna Christmas, the writers on that is Jason Williams and Joe Sears, right? And Joe Sears was one who was nominated for best comedic performance in a role for a Tony. He almost won a Tony for that. That's pretty amazing coming out of Fort Worth. They'd worked in malls and all kinds of stuff. They finally took over the Casa spot. They've always been at that Casa spot, the Tuna Christmas series. They're all the way from Oregon. All right, so according to this map, we're headed north, and the odd would be on the right. So it ends in a 13. I'm still learning these things. It'd be this one right here. That's an odd number, it ends in a 13. Happy birthday, Leo. And I'm sure they don't mean Leonardo DiCaprio. Alright, so right next to the JPS Network is Fire Station Skate Park. It is called Fire Station Park. The skaters meet. And if they hurt themselves, they can just go right here to the hospital. There's the palm reader.